Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Family Sedan channel. We're certainly living through uncertain and chaotic times. Definitely true as it pertains to many markets in general, especially crypto, because crypto is the most volatile. But it's true that markets haven't exactly seen the most positive activity, throughout 2022. Whether you're talking about real estate markets, auto markets, you could be talking about equities, you can be talking about crypto. 2022 hasn't been such a hot year, but nothing goes up in a straight line forever. There are pullbacks, there are bear markets, these things happen. It doesn't mean that humanity is going to collapse and cease to exist. There's always opportunity. But, we can also focus on the good things that occur during these times because there are actually genuinely very good things when it feels like everything's going to zero and the world's falling apart and nothing's ever going to be okay again. But that's generally not how things actually are. It's just how people feel. But look at this headline from the Crypto Basic. XRP social activity soars to 3-month high. And it's just interesting that at a time like this, when everything's very scare, there are all sorts of people who are genuinely interested in XRP. And I think that the reason is, despite the fact that XRP is moving in tandem with the rest of the market and prices are suppressed right now, I think by many people paying attention, I count myself among those people. Perhaps if you're paying attention right now to crypto, you're probably one of those people too. You probably think there's really something to this as well, and that things are going to be rebound and things get better, prices go up. And people are paying attention to XRP right now. There's a lot of people. It's just there's a certain number of people that get shaken out more easily. Then there's also this article. I wanted to share part of it from the Daily Hodl. A crypto analyst says Bitcoin bear market closer and closer to end, breaks down Cardano and 2 other altcoins. And I'm not going to talk about Cardano and the other altcoins. I just wanted to more so focus on what's going on, just kind of like on a big picture scale. What's happening in the world of crypto? Where are we as compared to previous market cycles? Well, it looks a lot like the bottoms of other previous market cycles, which I'll highlight in this video to share with you the specifics as far as why that analyst had to say that. But before going further, I do want to be clear. I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. As I record this, XRP is at 35 cents, Bitcoin at 16,871 bucks, market cap 821 billion, Bitcoin dominance at 39.52%. Well, I'll tell you what, 4 years ago when we were at the bottom of a different bear market, literally 4 years ago, and the market cap for the asset class was probably, I'm guessing, somewhere in the neighborhood of 150 billion. If I would know that the next bear market would have a bottom of a market cap of 821 billion, I would have been very excited 4 years ago to know that. Now, of course, I didn't have that knowledge. I've got the benefit of hindsight now, but it's all about perspective. And so this bottom, way better than the bottom last cycle, because more people are adopting crypto because there is something to it. It is useful. It does make business models possible that couldn't otherwise exist. Even outside of that, people value the attributes that it offers, which would otherwise not be available to humans. So crypto's not going away. It's very clear. I could be betting on all the wrong horses. It's possible. I hold about 30 different cryptocurrencies. Maybe all of those ones go to zero. But even if I'm not betting on the wrong asset class, I could be that unfortunate that all of my investments in the cryptos I own, they all go to zero. But I don't think that's going to happen. But the point is, even if it did, which is possible, well, the crypto asset class is still here to stay because humans aren't just going to throw away this incredible innovation, this incredible technology that's been around for about 13 years to this point and represents true value, which is separate from price. There's actual value here. Humans aren't just going to chuck that in the waste bin. Ain't going to happen here. And so I can imagine that another several years out, when we have another, or whenever it ends up being, whenever we have our next bear market, after we have a crazy euphoric time, which I believe is inevitable, once that happens, where's the bottom going to be? Well, probably, if we're at the bottom now, or anywhere even close to it, it's probably going to be way, way, way higher than this. What are we going to have, like a several $1 trillion market cap when we're at the bottom after it maybe, what was it going to go to? Like 10 trillion, 15, 20 trillion? I don't pretend to know. And then what collapsed down to 4? Well, if you knew that several years from now, if we're at the bottom of a bear market after euphoria, and it's going to be 4 trillion, which is more than, well, closer to like a 5-fold increase from here, would you be that sad? I mean, I wouldn't. I'd be excited for that. I just don't know what's going to happen exactly that's going to unfold, but I'm just trying to make a broader point. Like, better days are yet ahead. But even so, people that are still around are paying attention to what's happening with XRP. So there's this article from the Crypto Basic. XRP social activity soars to 3-month high. A popular tracking service for crypto social engagements, Lunar Crush, reported a meteoric rise in XRP mentions across various social media platforms, including Twitter. In a recent tweet, Lunar Crush noted that XRP social mentions measured daily spiked to 57,460 just yesterday. The tweet explains that the figure represents the crypto asset's highest peak in social mentions over 3 months. And here's the quote from him. "We are noticing soaring XRP social activity today. XRP social mentions measured daily hit 57,460-ish so that'd be the highest point in the last 90 days. So that just happened. That literally just happened. And there wasn't gigantic news surrounding anything with XRP specifically. Nothing like, I mean, there's always interesting news, don't get me wrong, but I'm just saying in terms of earth-shattering stuff, it's not like we got a verdict in the SEC v. Ripple case, for example. There's nothing like that. We're not in a euphoric market either, but it's people are paying attention. And take a look at this. Here's another metric to look at and consider. It's the chart that's in the middle of your screen right now. It's the number of new accounts activated on the XRP ledger, so number of new XRP accounts. And I arbitrarily chose a timeline dating back to May 1st of this year. And you can see, of course, as I pointed out a number of times recently, because I've been tracking this more than normal recently, when you had the FTX collapse, you had a major spike in new XRP accounts created. Then when there was the fear about Binance potentially being insolvent, and they're not insolvent, so it was about December 13th, you saw another spike there. And it's come down a bit since then, but it's just interesting to note that we are still seeing XRP account creation in a time like this, that prior to the FTX stuff, which would also be roughly prior to a lot of the news surrounding the motions for summary judgment in the SEC v. Ripple case. I mean, we're up, depending on the day you're looking at, close to 100% even now in terms of new XRP account creation prior to that. And is it all because of the uncertainty? I mean, obviously the big jumps here, they lined up so perfectly, you can easily tell where they came from with FTX and then the Binance stuff a month later. But it's still high. It's still an unusually high level. I don't pretend to have a perfect answer, but I wanted to highlight this because this is not normal behavior, and there is a lot of activity and attention being paid to XRP and the XRP ledger. There's a reason XRP has been in the top 10 cryptos by market cap for its entire existence. There are only 3 cryptocurrencies that have always been in the top 10 by market cap, and it would be Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP. That's it. That's it. But I tend to say, certainly as it pertains to XRP, deservedly so. And there are enough people on the planet like myself, and you may count yourself among them, that have been pushing in this direction, refusing to sell XRP because we get that it stays there. And there's enough people that when XRP price goes low, they snatch it up. And it stays there in the top 10, despite all of the nonsense, despite the fact that there have been points in time where there have been 4 stablecoins in the top 10. 4 stablecoins, always worth a buck in the top 10 cryptos by market cap. And the SEC FUD, and XRP still hanging out in the top 10, has never dipped below it. That's astonishing. And then there's this from my fellow XRP YouTuber, the Blockchain Backer. He wrote, "What comes next?" And this is a poll on Twitter. So what comes next? And there are 2 answers. You could answer Bitcoin to $40,000 or Bitcoin to $12,000. What would you vote? Or some of you actually listening, you probably did vote. Well, I voted Bitcoin to $40,000. And not that I have terribly strong conviction, but we've already seen such a pullback. If I'm voting, that notably bit lower to 12,000 or a lot higher, I'm gonna pick the higher one just because in terms of probability, if you compare to previous cycles, I got to go that way, just drawing on how a previous human behavior. The only reason I don't, or not the only reason, but a primary reason I don't have stronger conviction about my vote, and so, again, I'm like leaning in that direction to whatever degree, but the reason I don't have stronger conviction, even though that is the way I voted, is because, there's the FTX contagion going on, and we are in weird economic times, unlike crypto's ever lived through before. So, if I have to bet, I'll bet that way, and I did. Acknowledge I could be wrong, but that's the way that I'm leaning, certainly anyway. But the idea of Bitcoin going way, way, way lower. I mean, we saw the same story when Bitcoin bottomed 4 years ago at $3,200. There are people calling for $2,000, people calling for $1,000. At some point, the bleeding stops, though. Historically, it always has. And I think it's going to again. So, in particular, outside of further contagion spreading or wildcard events globally unrelated to crypto that impact crypto, outside of that stuff, I'm thinking it's certainly more probable to see, the resurgence to the upside, even if it takes a long time for Bitcoin to get back to $40,000. To me, that seems more reasonable. And somebody from the community named Tim wrote, and the same said $100,000. So I guess it's $40,000 for Bitcoin. And the blockchain backer wrote, LOL, you remember. And so indeed, for the people who were voting that Bitcoin is more probable to go to $100,000 versus breaking down into bear market territory, most people said it was going to keep going to $100,000. And so whatever direction the market's going, that tends to be what the typical retail investor out there is expecting it to continue to do in perpetuity. But at some point it does stop and directions change. And so you had, for this vote, 35.1% vote that Bitcoin's going to hit $40,000 next, and 64.9% voted Bitcoin would hit $12,000 next. So most people think that it's going lower. But when it comes to these levels, the masses are normally wrong historically. So we'll see. Again, I don't have a strong conviction as I normally would outside of these weird circumstances, and I acknowledge my vote could end up not coming to pass, but that's the way I'm leaning. And so happy to publicly share that. You tell me what you guys think. And then there's this from the Daily Huddle. Crypto analyst says Bitcoin bear market closer and closer to end, breaks down Cardano and 2 other altcoins. A widely followed crypto analyst is laying down a timeline for the end of the Bitcoin bear market woes. Pseudonymous analyst Rect Capital updates their 329,600 followers on the current Bitcoin bear market timeline relative to last year's bull market. Quote, it's been 400 days since the Bitcoin bull market peak at $69,000. Which means that this bear market is getting closer and closer to ending. Historically, Bitcoin bear markets find their absolute bottom price approximately 365 days after the previous bull market peak, end quote. And so look, we're just drawing on past experience. There can always be wild card events that make this time a little bit different to some degree. But in terms of human behavior and human nature, it's still got the same human DNA. Like, I don't think that's changing. Which is why you keep seeing history not literally repeat, but rhyme with itself. It's the same humans with the same DNA that keep doing the same stupid behaviors. So I count on that in a general sense. But if you look at what happened last market cycle, in 2017 in December, Bitcoin peaked almost at $20,000. Almost exactly a year later, it bottomed at $3,200. And so here you have, we're in the same type of territory. It's fine. It's been over a year at this point, to a little bit over a year. But last year, I guess it was November, Bitcoin peaked close to 70 grand. Now it's gotten as low as somewhere around 15,400, 15,500, something like that. About a year later, okay. Well, we've seen this before. Eventually, enough of the scaredy cats get out of the market, and who do you have that remain? People that refuse to sell because they're like, yeah, you guys are wrong and ridiculous, and we're betting against you. They're betting against us, and we're betting against them. And I say we, I'm talking about people like me who are just staunch supporters of crypto in general, who just will not cave no matter what. There's plenty of us. And maybe that's not most people. Most people will cave based on scary price action and stuff. So they're betting against us and we're betting against them. Just saying, it is what it is. I'm happy to be here. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the Moon Family Sedan.